Does God really knows everything? Well, the answer to these questions can change your view of life forever. If you will just spare me the next few minutes, I will try to vindicate myself. Actually, we get to know of things through our senses, through the various senses we have. The accumulation of what our senses have gathered is what we call knowledge. Now, do we have enough senses to make a total sense, a complete sense of this existence? Well, let's take a look at this analogy. Thunder and lightning. Initially, they were thought to be two different things, but subsequently, they were discovered to be one singular reality, one singular form of existence. But it is now real to us. It was initially real to humanity as two things, but it's much more than that. It was later discovered to be a kind of atmospheric discharge of electricity, which emits not only light and sound, but various forms of radiations, which we might not even have the sense to pick. But let's look at that, at some aspects of that phenomenon, that thunder and lightning. Actually, you see, when it happens, light travel faster. So the moment it happens anywhere on Earth, we can see it, because light travels 300,000 kilometers per second approximately, while sound travels just 343 meters per second. So that's why sometimes when the lightning happens, or when that electrostatic discharge happens, you will see the light immediately. But in some cases, the sound will take some few seconds before it reaches our ears. It is the same phenomenon. Okay, this will be clearer. Let's use a more distant object. Let's assume that lightning, the discharge, happen where the moon is. The moon is approximately 300,000 kilometers. So when it happens, light takes 1.3 seconds, just a second, to reach the Earth. So the moment it happens in the moon, we will see the light. We will know that it has happened. That is, our sense of seeing will tell us that a phenomenon there is existing. Now, but it will take our ears 13 days to hear the sound. That is, it will take sound 13 days to reach where light has traveled in just a second. So now, let's assume that humanity, we don't have eyes. It's only the ears we have. So we'll never get to know that that discharge happened until 13 days later. So these are finite sensories. These are sensories that are limited by space and time. That's why an existence might not be picked or perceived the moment it happens. God exists, not in the finite body. He uses not finite senses. The senses he has cannot be limited by time and space. So God knows the end from the beginning. Let's take more distant objects. It might be clearer in that. Let's take the sun. From here to the sun is approximately 150 million kilometers. So it takes light 8 minutes to reach the Earth. So whenever you go out and look at the sun, you are seeing the light that happens 8 minutes ago. So now let's see if that light we're seeing from the sun is like that electrostatic discharge, maybe a form of thunder. Then you wait for the sound, like it usually happens. When you see a lightning, then you know that it's a concomitant sound. So if light travels for 8 minutes from the sun to reach us, a sound that is produced simultaneously with that light will take approximately 14 years to reach our ears. So if we don't have sense of sight, if we don't have eyes, we will get to know things that happen in the sun only 14 years after it might have happened. So, no, it is no surprise to say if we say that the whole existence has happened before God, because He's only using the kind of eyes we have, neither even the kind of senses we have. His senses are beyond time and beyond space. Therefore, we can see the end from the beginning. Lightning and thunder, they are not the only aspects of that phenomenon, that electrostatic discharge. That atmospheric electricity we call thunder and lightning is not limited to just what the ears and the eyes can pick or perceive. It also produces heat. In some studies, it has been found that at the point when the discharge happened, the particles in the pathway, in that pathway of the discharge are heated 30,000 times. So let's assume now those particles were just 30 degrees Celsius. So at that point, that 30 degrees Celsius will be raised times 30,000 to be raised to up to 900,000 degrees Celsius. That is many times hotter than the sun. So this is another aspect of the same phenomenon. So assuming we don't have this has to be measured through some other ways, because we don't have the sense that can pick that heat from here. And the heat, due to limitation, the restrictions, the limitations of time and space, the heat does not reach us. So let's assume that the heat will continue, the heat will travel to us. It will travel very less faster, very much slower than that of sound. If it takes sound 13 days to reach us from the moon, then if there is heat, if heat is traveling, before it will reach us, it will be centuries or millennia. This life before the eyes of God has happened. God knows the end from the beginning. He's not limited to space and time. We are here battling with the limitations of space and time. And that's why an aspect of the same phenomenon, something that happens simultaneously at once, part of it will reach us immediately or some few minutes after. But the remaining part, that they started traveling simultaneously, just like the light from the sun reaches us in 8 minutes. But the concomitant sound, that is the sound that they start traveling simultaneously, will reach us after approximately 14 years. So actually, bearing the fact in mind, I will keep on saying it, based on what has been discovered, that we're only using limited capacity of the brain. So this is reflected in the way we perceive things. This means that we are yet to develop the senses that will make a complete sense of this existence. Nothing has been fully known. Our senses are only have the capacity to perceive aspects of existence. Our senses can only make real just a few aspects of one category of existence. Just like this lightning. The light, just an aspect of it. The sound is just an aspect of it. There is the heat. There are some other forms of radiations that we are yet to have the senses that can pick. And up to now, we don't even know what electricity is. So we need to develop, to have complete understanding of this existence. There is that necessity to have senses that can pick ultimate realities.